stars, and that's who we are. We are voices. There's nothing to fear. Explode in your rear. Feel our voices.
Why, it's Thursday, and we're back. VOR WrestleMania. This is Ed.
Oh, this is Mania coming at you all. This is Carl, and what you gonna do when Rusty and Joe come for you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Hi, I'm Joe.
This is Joe, the worst wrestler ever.
I'm ready to go.
It almost sounds like a pallbearer.
Oh yeah, the weird high voice. Oh, speaking of the high voice, okay, who was the guy who went from being one personality and then he became out and he was all in pink and he would do your makeup and rub shit all over your face if you lost?
Adorable Adrian Adonis.
Yes, I always want to think it's Ravishing Rick Rude, but yes, who was he before he was that?
I don't know, but he used to wear biker clothes.
He used to wear biker clothes.
He was still Adrian Adonis, but he had another adjective.
Yeah, he
Ass kicking?
Dude, he went from being
Adjective was Adrian Adonis.
diesel bike, and then he comes out and he's all got fake blonde hair and he had flittery eyelashes and he would wear, and when he would beat people, he would wrap them in feather boas and they'd be all like,
oh my god,
unconscious, and they'd be rubbing lipstick all over their face and eyeliner, and he'd get them all dragged out, and then the next thing they'd wake up and they'd been humiliated and beaten.
That's wrestling for you. That's rebranding. That's
Yeah.
It's like he went into a machine and then came out somebody altogether different. It was awesome.
Well, real quick on that, the most amazing thing I witnessed in my experiences with wrestling, again, coming up in like the golden age of like the 80s when it suddenly got huge and these amazing characters, there's another character that transitioned into the first Freak. I mean, Undertaker for me was like, it's another metal-looking dude in a trench coat. I see those guys all the time, like in real life. But I guess his name was Goldust. Am I right?
Yes.
What is his story? Because he was like from outer space.
Oh, Goldust was such a great gimmick because he's actually from a wrestling family that's like kind of ingrained in pro wrestling. He's the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and he was his son, and he was always kind of at odds because he was always in the Southern wrestling, like the NWA, WCW. So when his son came up, they kind of, almost as a slight, gave him this Goldust character, and he really took it and really embraced it. And what he pretty much did was he played on everyone's homophobia at the time, and he played this really over-the-top kind of freaky S&M sort of like alternative lifestyles character, and he just full on embraced it. There was one time when he was fighting Roddy Piper in the street fight, he actually had lingerie, full-on lingerie on underneath his outfit, and Roddy Piper's like pulling it off and everything. So next thing you know, he's in like a garter belt and a bra and panties. It was over-the-top craziness, and it was so brilliant.
It was like Ziggy Stardust. I always thought it was supposed to be like Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, it kind of had that feel to it. It was really brilliant. And the way that he played off those fans, like especially like in the very conservative Bible Belt arenas that they would play, like they fucking hated him so hard, and it was so brilliant that he's just like eating it up and just sending it right back to him. Every time he'd do something, they'd hate it. So the next time he'd just outdo himself. The next thing you know, he's getting walked out like a gimp by his manager Medusa. It's like it was so crazy.
Yeah, I just looked him up, man. That's just amazing. Because again, yeah, it was just that. It was just he was this Ziggy Stardust-looking freak and very feminine in his movements when he wasn't actually wrestling, but he was so good. Mm-hmm. And to see him just get like weirder over time. So like, it's like people understand like, oh, here comes that queer guy or Goldust, and then suddenly he wasn't just the queer guy. You don't know what's coming at you.
He's the queer guy who could beat your ass.
Yes.
He became undefinable. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. That's actually kind of the cool stuff about, like, I will admit, being a kid who was more of a fan of good guys, I've just always been that stupid kid that only liked good guys. I only liked good guys. So it was always your basics that I was always into. The bad guys really have the better story. If I could do it, I would make my decision. I would want to be a bad guy.
All you have to do is break the rules.
Yeah.
Turn on your friend.
That's a good
Oh.
start.
That's what you do.
Turn on your friend like you did when Ed was away from the camera earlier.
You're right.
Pretty much.
I know, but see, he knows I
Hey,
do
we
that.
talked about that, man. We talked about that. I said you promised you wouldn't tell Mike what I did in his drink, and now you're fucking bullshit.
Next time it's in the
Go over there.
streets. Next time it's in the streets.
You are street brawl.
Oh my God.
So how about you, Joe and Rusty? Did you guys come into it kind of later, or did you watch it as kids, or?
I watched it as a kid. I remember it was one of the local, was it Channel 20, I guess it was.
Channel 50, actually,
50.
I think.
And they would do alternating WWF and WCW for the first 4 days of the week. And then the week ended on the highest awesome note possible because they would show Glow, the glamorous ladies of wrestling.
Yeah.
And
Gorgeous.
I used
There's the gorgeous ladies in wrestling.
Gorgeous.
They were glamorous too.
Not
It was
glamorous.
gorgeous. But that was fantastic. I used to love that stuff.
Well, it's really funny because that's the third time tonight. Even before you guys were on the line with us, we were talking about Glow. And there's a great documentary on Netflix. If anyone's interested in it, check it out on Netflix. It's the Glow documentary. It's so interesting and so much fun. So,
Yeah, we
Just
just
look
watched
up
it.
Glow.
It's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, I thought it was weird that I was telling Carl this earlier, but you know, they seem to. It was on all the independent stations. You know, mainstream wrestling, WWF was getting huge. I didn't even know about what WWE till later, any of the other ones, and when I saw them, like, posers, low budget posers. But then, you know, in between was Glow. Like, somehow people thought it would be a really great idea to have these really upsetting looking women come out in their wrestling gear and these type of characters. And that was kind of weird enough, but what really got me, at least here in Chicago, they got one of them. Her name was Honeybee. They got her to host the weekday morning cartoon show. So,
wow.
I mean, she was cute, but she was like, she's super huge. She had, like, you know, this great feathered 80s hair, and she had, like, this blonde streak. And she's like, "Hey, good morning, it's Honeybee!" And she had, like, this really scratchy Lifetime Smoker girly voice. She was really turkey, but you're like, this doesn't make sense. I'm a kid. This doesn't make sense. You know, like, why?
Sounds great for kids.
Yeah. Let's talk about gender roles.
Kids should be able to just see that stuff, take it in, and just ignore it. You know, that's the sort of thing you just
Accept it
have
for
to.
what it is.
Yep, boom, that's it. I don't know. Did you guys ever watch Captain Chesapeake?
No.
Yes. Was he? He wore like captain's clothes, right?
Yeah, Captain's clothes, and there was
Yeah.
a sea monster that
Remember that?
supposedly lived in the
Channel
Chesapeake
20.
Bay.
Okay.
Oh, is he
Yeah.
like East Coast? Like, what?
Yeah, he was Maryland's. Like, he did our cartoon stuff. When you just sort of inject that sort of thing into a kid's, like, we don't question it. So, like, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling before your 8-year-old's eyes, I think is an awesome idea. They walk out of the house and they expect anything.
Well, it was formatted very much like a kid show, like something you might find on Nickelodeon or something similar, because you had the matches, which were very cartoonish. They were never serious, and then you had skits, terrible skits between the matches that were not funny, but they had laugh tracks, and they were
my
just
God.
they were so bizarre. It was, I mean, for a kid, it's, you know, you have a variety of things to pay attention to.
That's awesome.
I think
That
one of
is
my
awesome.
favorite things that they did with that too is at least one of them was on Married with Children.
Oh,
Was it,
a few of them were. That was
Yeah.
was it Mount Fiji?
Yeah, and Big Bad Mama.
Big Bad Mama, yeah.
And they even, those were their heavyweights. And they even had some of the cuter, like, you know, girls on there a couple times that were kind of like, for Ed Bundy to kind of ogle over, like, ooh, ladies, and like, we're going to be wrestling over here whenever you're free, that sort of thing. You know, it's like, they were everywhere.
I felt like I was watching the show, man.
Ow, somebody kicked me in the vagina.
Oh, that's so nice.
Ouch.
But yeah, you know, it's just great stuff. And that kind of hits on what I've been saying for a while now, is that I think pro wrestling is the last living relative of vaudeville. Because when you look at it, it is a complete combination of musical entertainment, comedy, drama, physical action. So you have like the slapstick and everything, and you have these wrestlers that are doing these amazing things. I don't think you can get any closer to vaudeville in this day and age without going to like some super ironic hipster thing where they're trying to do a stage presentation. Like, and these are guys that go out there, they travel from town to town. You have your performers, and they're all doing these very specialized, interesting things, giving you multiple layers of entertainment, skits, action, music, lights, sound, pyrotechnics. It's really an amazing production that they do, and it's been like that since the 80s, but it's just getting bigger and bigger, and it's like I said, one of the few things of vaudeville I think that still remains in this world.
Carl, you're a genius. I am going to Twitter message Amanda Palmer right now. She's got to get into wrestling. I can see it all over her already.
You know, she could be this generation's Cyndi Lauper.
She could be up there, the ukulele and the fishnet tights and beating people with China dolls and dildos or whatever it is that she does. They should do the whole deal. It'll be her thing.
I love those China dildos.
Yes.
China dildos. She could, that whole feminism. But then Neil Gaiman could be the Cyndi Lauper of modern day. What's it
Or
called?
Neil getting beat up.
You just come out.
I'm
get beat up in
fancy. I'm just
leather
a fancy,
jacket.
fancy British guy. Don't hit
Stop
me.
fighting! Stop hitting my wife!
I'm a writer.
I'm
Think about
dumb.
that,
I'm Neil Gaiman.
I'm British Neil Gaiman.
British Neil Gaiman.
Well, you know, you
Stupid
tweet
fire.
that, and I will definitely tweet the follow-up of "You're welcome, Amanda." Can be a game changer. Game changer.
Yeah, so I think the only person left we have to talk about like childhood memories and stuff is Joe. We heard from everyone else talking about like some of their early impressions. Were you kind of like Rusty? Were you watching on the local channel? Is that how you got into it?
My earliest wrestling memory would be a Saturday Night's Main Event from maybe 1986, 87, and the time, and for many years thereafter, Saturday Night Live wasn't around every week, and so Dick Ebersol of NBC Sports, or NBC in general, he signed with the WWF to have quarterly or bi-monthly specials in the slot for Saturday Night Live. And they would usually pre-recorded, and they would make them appear as if they were live, like there was some wrestling show going on at midnight somewhere. And and they would feed into the next pay-per-view event or the next live event in your neighborhood. And the first thing I remember was a team called the Killer Bees. And there were these two white guys with striped tights, trunks, I guess. For a while they wore masks so they could be replaceable. They could switch in and out of the match illegally. But I remember them, and I remember Hulk Hogan getting destroyed by King Kong Bundy. And this was in the lead up to WrestleMania 2. And they had to take Hulk to the hospital, and his ribs were all ravaged from the beating.
Yeah.
And so that's my earliest wrestling memory.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember that.
And
I remember
since
you remembering that.
It felt real. It was like real. It was like, okay, someone's gonna lose. Wait, he's going to the hospital? You know, my poor brain was like, wait.
And that kind of plays into some of my early wrestling memories. Was I was actually not allowed to watch wrestling as a kid because it was too violent. They didn't want me to do that. Specifically, my grandparents more than my mom. My mom, she was like, you shouldn't watch that. It's garbage sort of stuff. She was more worried about the cultural influence, where my grandparents were just like, oh, it's crazy. So, of course, whenever I was left alone with a television, the first thing I'd always look for is pro wrestling. And I grew up watching like Ted DiBiase and Rowdy Roddy Piper, because I'm kind of the opposite of Mike. I always gravitated towards the bad guys.
I knew it.
I'm sorry. and even to this day, I am. Like and I think it's just because I'm attracted to the story, because usually the hero is kind of the static element of the story, And, you know, because Hulk Hogan, if you look at pretty much any of his feuds, he's always just Hulk Hogan. You know, he's going to come out with the same shtick, but, you know, so you're going to have Randy Savage come out, and he's going to be the thing that challenges him. You're going to have Roddy Piper come out and challenge him. You're going to have Andre the Giant, Ted DiBiase, you know, and that's the thing that kept on changing. That was the variety of the story. And I think that's why I kind of gravitated towards those guys, because they were the guys that made everyone else look interesting and cool and make them look better. Even if they always eventually lost in the end, usually, they were the guys that were the color guys. So.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, even as a kid, I was a bit of a smart.
Well, it just goes to show you there's something for everyone in professional wrestling.
There really is.
Yeah, brings people together.
Yeah.
I totally underestimated it, but well, shoot. I think that's a show, guys.
Sounds
Well,
good.
I'm not reading another
We
outro.
did it, guys.
I think it's a great show.
Looks like we made it.
This is a great way to end Thursday.
Yes.
Right?
And if you agree, if that was a great way to end your Thursday, let us know. You can contact us via email, voiceofrep@gmail.com. You can either send us texts or MP3s, and we'll play them here on the show or read them out loud. If you don't want to do it that way, you can give us a phone call on the Republicom, 407-409-8749. And 2-minute limit on that. It tolls do apply. It's not 800 number, but y'all have cell phones now, so it doesn't even matter. But give us a call. We'll play it live on the show. If you need any more information or want to find out more about us, find old episodes, go to vorradio.com. That'll direct you to the Facebook, the Twitter, all that fun stuff. So.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll see you guys back here tomorrow for part 4 of Wrestling Mania. May the Force be with.